CLNS Media Patriots Roundtable. I'm your host, Nick Qualia, sitting here with Mike Molyneux. And we want to talk about this. This could probably be a pretty quick episode here, but maybe not. We usually go longer than we expect to. The Patriots this season, not good. Missed the postseason. Nothing was good about the team realistically besides the running game. You say, hey, hell yeah, that running game looked awesome. The offensive line, pretty solid. But other than that, the quarterback position, not great. The wide receivers, yuck. Jakobi Meyers, we've said this a few times over the past however many episodes. Jakobi Meyers might be the only receiver on this roster, other than Julian Edelman, who has a somewhat guaranteed spot for next season. All these other guys, very expendable at this point. Go get a receiver in free agency. But that's besides the point. So the Patriots, not that good this season, missed the postseason. And with such a weak roster, this came to me yesterday, and I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on it. Would the Patriots have really been any better if they had Tom Brady at quarterback this season? What do you think?
Nick. This question right here, I mean, I guess, yeah, this question can happen because Tom Brady's not a Patriot, and we've watched this season with the New England Patriots with a different quarterback. But come on now. Anybody who's watching, if you're watching this episode right now, you know that for the past 20 years, Patriots have had some great teams, amazing teams. The Patriots have had some, average teams. Okay, well, hopefully they'll have a solid season. But somehow, some way, they found a way. With the great teams that the Patriots had,
this might be the worst roster they've ever had, though. This is bad.
This is bad, but I think it's easy to say it's very bad now because Tom Brady's not the quarterback. I think so. Let's be honest. We all know this. We've said it numerous times. Everybody has said this over and over again. Tom Brady has made garbage cans reliable at wide receiver. I'm talking trash options, trash weapons. Brady has made them look somewhat reliable throughout the course of his career in New England. And I think as the years gone on and Brady got older, he was getting sick and tired of like, look, I'm not getting any younger. Give me weapons. Like, I'm going to do what I can to be at the best in my age, but I also need some dogs running with me at wide receiver. And as he got older, I think that conversation kept getting louder and louder for him. With that being said, we know Tom Brady has made very bad weapons look great. And as average as N'Keal Harry is, or below average, and Bird and Myers as they are, if Tom Brady's throwing the football to them, this offense would look 10 times better. And then on top of that, we just spoke about how the run game has been pretty damn good. The run game has been very good for this team. As bad as, the weapons at wide receiver and Cam look, the run game has been great. Now, if you have the threat of Tom Brady dropping back in the pocket, throwing the football, just the threat of Thomas Brady, that helps this team a lot. Yes, the weapons aren't there, but Tom Brady, I believe, if he was quarterback of this team, we're looking at least, because I agree with you, Nick, this team is still bad, but Tom Brady just gives them that extra to make them somewhat of a threat in the AFC. So with Tom Brady at quarterback,
but he's even been like mediocre in Tampa Bay. And he's got the best of the best around him.
Yeah, but people still believe. I bet you, even though Tom Brady has looked below average in Tampa Bay, people still believe, all right, there's still somewhat of a threat. You can't count out Tom Brady ever. No one's ever going to count out Tom Brady until he retires from the NFL. That's just the reality of the situation. You put Tom Brady on this Patriots team, you're at least looking at maybe a 9-7 or a 10-6 record. Easily. Yeah, they're not going to be running through the league like they did in 2007 and, a couple of years where they had great talented teams and, they were easily the top of the cream of the crop. But just the fact that you have Tom Brady in an offense around the coaching staff and organization where he's comfortable. Maybe he's not fully comfortable in Tampa Bay. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not trying to speculate on that. But if you have Tom Brady still in New England and he bought into, okay, you know what? I'm going to do whatever I can to finish my career as a Patriot, regardless of how bad Belichick, the GM, is at giving me a solid team to work with, I believe that this team would be sitting at either 9-7 or 10-6 with Tom Brady at quarterback.
10-6 is tough. I don't think I'm going past 9-7. I really don't. Like, I'm going to give you, if Tom's here, I bet you they beat the Broncos. I bet they don't lose that game. And I bet they don't get absolutely shellacked by the 49ers. But then I look at the scores of those games. And I have to ask myself, the 49ers, guys, this is not the same 49ers team as it was last year. They're not that good.
No.
They tagged 33 points on you. So then you have to ask yourself the question, would Tom Brady have put up 33-plus points on the San Francisco defense? I don't know if I can say that he would have. So I'm going to give them one more win than what they have right now, the Denver Broncos. But, I mean, everything else, I would say it's semi-fair. And I don't know if you play it again. I don't know if they beat the Ravens. I'm not saying that Cam Newton's any better than Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady is the better quarterback right now. But I just, with the opponents that they've lost to, I'm going to give them a win over the Broncos. And maybe you get a division win. You get that win over the Bills. But the Bills are so good right now. Everything else, I mean, you beat the Raiders. You lost to the Chiefs. You barely lost to the Seahawks. Again, right there. Is Tom Brady with this Patriots roster putting up 35-plus points? Because that's what the Seahawks put up on you. And then everything else, I mean, it makes sense. The only other questionable game, I guess I would say, is the Texans. But then Deshaun Watson played his best game of the season in that game. So again, is Tom Brady gonna win that race against Deshaun Watson? Because the defense just really did not show up that day. Everything else, I mean, I suspect that they're going to lose to the Bills this Monday night. I would say with Tom Brady, they would have lost to. And then, man, I hope they beat the Jets. If they lose to the Jets
to end the season.
Over. But with Tom, you probably win that football game. So again, I'm going to give them like one more win, but I can't confidently say that I would give them a 10-win season. I don't think this roster deserves a 10-win season. Frankly, last year's didn't really either, but Tom also without Julian Edelman, expecting that Julian Edelman would be hurt if Tom Brady was here. Maybe he would try to get back faster because it's his guy. But if Julian Edelman's out this long too, that would have really affected Tom. So I don't think this team's much better with Tom Brady. Maybe a little bit, but they could still very well miss the playoffs.
This might open a whole different conversation that we might need to save for another episode or whatnot, but I still have to ask it because it's on my mind. If Tom Brady committed to the Patriots in the offseason, do you think the Patriots or Belichick would have made a more valiant effort to try to bolster up the offense, especially wide receiver? If Tom Brady came out early in the offseason and committed to a 2-year deal in New England because he had a great conversation with Kraft and everything smoothed over, and he said, I'm finishing my career as a Patriot, do you think Belichick makes a more valiant effort in the 2020 season to get Brady weapons?
See, I don't think so.
Not just Myers, but like, okay, Tom Brady's back. Let's see who we can get to run with him.
I don't think so. And you know why? Maybe I don't even think they would have gone after Antonio Brown. You know why? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm remembering this wrong, but prior to the COVID dropouts, Dante Hightower, Patrick Chung, they were strapped on the cap. They didn't have much room to work with. That's why they had a guy like Marquise Lee who made the best business decision he could have made and drop out and still take that paycheck due to COVID before the Patriots cut him, and they didn't get any money. But they didn't really have any wiggle room, and that's where I'll give Bill that excuse that he talked about on the radio. I believe it was on. It might have been on EEI. Yeah, it might have been on EEI. Ordway, Merloni, and Fourier. But they didn't really have the cap room, I don't believe, before those COVID dropouts. But after the COVID dropouts, maybe whatever was available. But I don't think so. That's not Bill's MO. I think what Bill did this offseason is what Bill would have done with Tom, because that's just what Bill does. And hopefully this is a friggin' wake-up call, because you can't send out this JV team again next season and expect to do any better than what you're doing right now.
Absolutely not.
You think Bill likes people questioning him right now?
Not used to it.
No. His ego is probably taking an ass beating right now.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's fun to think about what things would have looked like if number 12 finished his career in a Patriots uniform, but it is what it is.
CLNS Media Patriots Roundtable, Nick Quaglia, Mike Molino. Guys, we're going to be back next week with another set of episodes, and we'll see how they perform against the Bills this coming week. I mean, at this point, we're just defeated. It's tough. Hey, I'm in the fantasy championship. That's all I care about this week, baby. Let's go. Nick Quaglia, Mike Molino. Guys, we will talk to you next week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And go Celtics.